Nissan transmissions, unless they're manual, are the absolute worst transmissions on the fucking planet.
How was it working as a mechanic in your younger days?
It was good and very rewarding. However, my body is now paying the price.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
Tony, give me your opinion on Nissans.
Trash, terrible transmissions, cheap. That's why people always cut up in them. Just terrible cars.
Seth, give me your opinion on Nissans.
The transmissions are dog crap.
Hey, Jim, give me your opinion on Nissans.
No.
Tony, give me your opinion on Nissan.
Has any one of you bought a car, then called your mechanic and he said, "You bought a what?" Well, for years, that expression was practically standard issue for Nissan owners. So today we're going to be finding out why your local Spannerman might have a nervous twitch whenever a Nissan rolls into his bay. We'll look at the nightmare repairs that built the bad reputation and ask the big question: is it still deserved in 2026? We're lifting the bonnet on what Nissan got wrong and what they've done to put it right.
People ask me all the time, why don't you recommend Nissan? Not that they're a bad car, it costs more to repair them.
Nissans are shit. That is not the reason at all. They're far from being the worst car to work on. They're shit because their transmissions are fucking absolute dog shit. Their electrical systems, their trim, everything about a Nissan is absolute dog shit. I still remember a time when Nissan was nice. It was like 2004, 2005. I think they made their last acceptable car. And then they got bought out by Chrysler or General Motors or something. They just turned straight to shit. Fuck General Motors, fuck Chrysler. Every single car brand that they buy out turns to shit. Land Rover used to be nice, now it's shit. Jeep used to be great, Chevy used to be great. Every single brand that they bought out turned absolute shit. I hope Chrysler and General Motors die and we just have Toyotas and Hondas left in the world.
People ask me all the time, why don't you recommend...
Man, that was brutal, but let's get straight to it. The continuously variable transmission, or the CVT. For years, this gearbox or transmission, they had all the reliability of a chocolate teapot. That's what I call it. Models roughly from 2012 to 2019 were practically famous for it. Owners, they reported shuddering, jerking, and that heart-in-your-mouth moment when the car decides it's had enough and goes to limp mode, usually on a highway. A full replacement of the transmission is the only solution, but it often costs more than the car was actually worth.
Ryan, what are some common issues with Nissans?
CVT transmissions.
What are some common issues with Nissans?
That it's a Nissan.
What are some common issues with Nissan?
CVT transmissions.
What are some common issues with Nissan?
Transmission problems, their CVT transmissions.
Sucks. What are some common issues with Nissan?
You can expect the CVT transmission failure.
What are some common issues with Nissan?
There's yellow a lot.
Ryan, what are some common issues with Nissans?
And when mechanics speak, you listen. It wasn't just the transmission either. Ask a mechanic about that era and they'll mention other little joys like unforgiving sensors that will throw a glitch and kill the engine in traffic, or simple jobs that turned a 5-hour saga into requiring double-jointed elbows. Pure frustration from any angle.
Can any Nissan model hit 250,000 miles?
Absolutely. Nissans can absolutely get over 250,000 miles. Now, there's going to be a couple contingencies, right? So like if you've got a Nissan that doesn't have a CVT transmission in it, which typically means that you're talking about a car that's like older than 2012, heck yeah, you'll have no problems getting there. If you've got a car newer than 2012, typically is what we're seeing on those Nissans, or if it has a CVT transmission, you're going to be replacing your transmission. Now, don't get me wrong. Other cars, you're going to replace transmissions too. Toyotas, Fords, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes you just have to replace the transmission on a car. We are not seeing newer generation Nissans get to the 250,000 mile mark as easily as what we did before. They still will, but it tends to take an investment to get there. So yes, it's possible. But if you own a newer Nissan and you're trying to get to that mileage, you're probably going to notice your bank account's coming with you too.
Of course, Nissan did extend the warranty on many CVTs after a bit of enthusiastic customer feedback, but more importantly, they went back to the drawing board. Models from 2020 onwards are said to be a different kettle of fish entirely, but the reputation damage was already done.
This is why mechanics hate engineers. Nissan Titan is in the shop today.
Customer states the starter is going out. The customer was mad about the price to do this starter. I don't blame them. Another dumb design Nissan requires a special fuel line disconnect.
Now he has to be pulling out the entire manifold section.
Here it is.
And then the starter is located right underneath the intake manifold.
This was harder than usual with a hurt wrist. Triple checked for any debris.
Now remember, this job will actually cost an estimate about $130 an hour, booked for around 2 to 3 hours, and the mechanic only get peanuts for this if he's working at the dealership.
Beautiful.
If you've ever had a repair bill that made you want to cry, weep, mourn, just do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you save money, and tell us in the comments, what's the worst outrageous repair story you've ever had?
3 reasons not to get a Nissan Kicks. To start, the Nissan Kicks is only available in front-wheel drive, limiting what you can do with the vehicle. On top of that, the car doesn't have an engine that instills confidence. Its 1.6-liter engine will leave you wanting more, even when doing daily tasks like going on the highway. Finally, the car doesn't feel safe or stable to be in. The cabin is shaky and noisy, leaving you with an uncomfortable driving experience. Those are 3 reasons not to get a Nissan Kicks.
That's one customer's review of the Nissan. But Nissan, they try to redeem itself as the fancy VC turbo engine. They founded in 2019 to 2022 models. It had its own teething problems and ended up in a lawsuit. It was another hiccup that reminded everyone of past troubles. But here's the twist. Despite that history, Nissan's recent reliability is shockingly good. As of 2026, RepairPal ranks Nissan 9th out of 32 brands. That's well above average. Their annual ownership costs are rather reasonable, about $500, and owners visit the garage less than the average driver. Models like the Altima and Sentra are now praised for their dependability, with many sailing past 200,000 miles without a fuss.
This guy was backing out of his spot and pop. His transmission gave out.
Bro, I swear to God, being a dealer, I've never had more transmission issues out of any other car more than I have out of a Nissan. Nissan transmissions, unless they're manual, are the absolute worst transmissions on the fucking planet. How the fuck this company been making cars for God knows how long and still have not figured out their transmissions? Even the brand new GTRs coming out of Nissan are fucking garbage. Their transmissions just suck. I love Nissans, but they need to figure out their fucking transmissions, because they're nothing but problems, and I don't know when the fuck they're gonna get it through their head. CVT is trash. Stop fucking making them.
I seem to be getting the videos with the anger problems. Another question I want to ask is, why is your mechanic still giving Nissan the side eye? Because they have long memories. They remember the years of failed CVTs and fiddler repairs that left customers stranded and had them covered in grease and despair.
Starting in the front, everything is covered, and I do have a small complaint, Nissan. So this is a very basic car. You know, a lot of people will drive in, average Joe in and out, or put hopefully a lot of miles on everything. Why can't we leave a door for service? Nothing. I mean, you have to remove this entire cover just to do something as simple as an oil change. A little bit of an oversight. I wish they would change stuff like that. With that, let's look at the front suspension here. Steel knuckle. I was kind of surprised by that, honestly. Steel lower control arm with a separate ball joint. Love this design. Single piston caliper, to be expected of a car this size. Steel sway bar link. I was really surprised by that. That is a move in the right direction. McPherson strut at the top. I love that they have bolted it down to the knuckle, not any strange design or whatnot. And then we come here to this. I mean, the exhaust here, Nissan exhaust usually is not the top of its game, but this one is really not good. I just have to say it. I hope this is kind of an early version of it, because I don't exactly know what happened here. Why does this have this strange paint on it? Somebody painted it. I don't know what happened there, but this exhaust is really not good. Even though this car is not exactly meant for quietness and everything, but I do like that they put some covers. Drive shaft goes right here on top. You do have some covers on the sides, not a huge fuel tank.
It's always good to have an inspection after you bought the car, but it's always better to have the critics and the opinions before you buy the car, because all those covers he's talking about is going to be a headache when you're ready to work on certain things.
If you're ever going to listen to what I would say, listen to this one. Don't buy a Nissan, okay? If you're looking to buy a car, don't get a Nissan. Just don't, please. A Nissan would fuck your life up. Trust me. You're going to have to spend ton shit of money. Oh my God, I'm so mad. We bought a Nissan Rogue 2017, and apparently that car is a fucking time bomb. And when we bought it for $8,000 fucking dollars, transmission went out after 2 days. So we need to get it fixed for $7,000 fucking dollars. And I think the second mistake that we did was get it fucking done instead of just, accepting the fact that the fucking car is horrible. So when we picked the car up from Nissan Service Center, I thought everything's gonna be fine and, we're gonna be able to enjoy the fucking car. Guess what? No. Engine light came on 2 days after, and we need to get it fixed again for $2,000 fucking dollars for 2 fucking problems, not transmission relatable. This is another fucking thing. I'm so mad. I wish I should have done my research. And this is my boyfriend's car. I have a Mazda, so I love my Mazda. This is my baby. But when we were looking for his car, we were looking for like months already. And it's just that we were just looking through Facebook Marketplace because we're not the one who would do monthly payments. But I wish we should have did that instead. But anyways, don't get on Nissan. Don't get a Nissan at all. Just get a Toyota or Honda or a Mazda. Thank you.
You hear her saying it after the fact with so much information out there, they fail to actually do her research. And the warning from mechanics, it isn't wrong.
This is the worst sports car ever designed. Try and change my mind. This is a 2006 Nissan 350Z without an engine. And honestly, it may be better that way because the engine over here isn't really that good anymore. For those that don't know, that's a bad rod bearing, and it should be as tight as that and have no movement. Now that's probably from lack of maintenance and somebody revving this thing up way too much. But it's a sports car. It's supposed to be run hard, right? Well, before I even found the bad rod bearing, this thing had no clutch and would not move at all. And the only way I found the bad rod bearing was by actually getting to drive it once I got the clutch installed and it started making some noises. So now, unfortunately, instead of selling this car, it's still stuck on my lift, and even worse, I got the engine out of it completely tore down, and the only way I'm ever gonna get it back together is probably by spending a whole lot of money, which it's probably not worth. But eventually I'll get it back together, get it running again, and maybe even get it cleaned up where somebody can drive it down the road and enjoy it. Probably destroy it once again as well.
And the thing is, warning from mechanics, they're not wrong. It's just some of the problems they're rooting in a specific troublesome error. If you're looking at a used Nissan from before 2020, you have to be incredibly careful. A pre-inspection isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. But for newer models, the data tells a different story. It shows a brand that has clearly done its homework. Your mechanic's warning comes from a very real place, but it seems Nissan has finally started listening. The car that was once a garage nightmare might just be one of the more sensible buys on the roads today.
Why does Nissan suck so bad, but Toyota is so great? There's an explanation for that. Well, let me elaborate. One of the biggest issues with Nissan currently is that they have absolutely atrocious transmissions. Their transmissions are so bad. And it doesn't seem like it's an issue that they're going to resolve soon. This issue is so bad that they had a $277 million class action lawsuit that they had to settle because they knowingly sold vehicles with defective transmissions. Some could argue that the quality of Nissan went down when they had the merger between Renault and Mitsubishi. Now let's talk about Toyota. What makes them so good? Toyota came to America in the late 1950s. One of their biggest strategies to success was focus on cost, reliability, and quality. Because Toyota understood if we're cheaper than the competition and our cars are more reliable, over time, we'll end up becoming one of the biggest companies. Two other things that help Toyota be so successful is
Yeah, we're going to be touching on Toyota a little more from now, but today's topic is all about Nissan. Toyota also has its problem, and we'll get to them. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. The links are in the description box below. Stay sharp, stay educated, and I'll catch you in the next one.